Hi, this is John, and today we're going to go over another piano accompaniment pattern. Hope you're all having a good day. And the song we're going to use is an old gospel song called Anywhere with Jesus. Now, before we get started, I want you to go down to the info section down below the YouTube screen, and download your copy of the lesson. I have two downloads. This is the chart. It just gives you the melodic line, the lyrics, and the chords. And you should be able to make up your own patterns with just the melody line. But a lot of people need more help. So I wrote this second arrangement here. And this is the piano accompaniment pattern. So download this second copy of the music. The soprano part is the vocal part. You sing that, then you have the three verses of the song. And now down below where you have the piano music, this is the piano notation, piano music notation of the particular piano accompaniment pattern I want to show you today. So download both of these and pay attention to this one right over here. We're going to start out with this one. Yeah, today I'm using my keyboard instead of my piano, and my piano sounds a little out of tune. I need to get it tuned up, so I'll use the keyboard today instead. Okay, so this piano accompaniment pattern is in 6/8 time, and if you know anything about 6/8 time, you realize that you can play it in a march, which would be 2 beats per measure, or you can play it in a slow tempo, which would be 6 beats per measure. We're going to use the march tempo, which is 2 beats per measure. Now in 6/8 time, notes have different values, but in 6/8 time, it's written as a quarter note and an eighth note. But you have to give that quarter note and that eighth note the same value as a dotted eighth note followed by a 16th. So the notes change their mathematical value. For example, in 6/8 time, if you go over here to measure number 3, where the lyrics say safely go, and the notes are E and F. Well, in 4/4 time, that would be a dotted quarter note, and a dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. But this is 6/8 time, so the value of a dotted quarter note changes in 6/8 time, and these dotted quarter notes get only 1 beat. And if you go over to the last measure in line number 1, which would be measure 1, 2, 3, 4 on the word go, that's a dotted half note. And in 4/4 time, a dotted half note gets 3 beats. But in 6/8 time, a dotted half note gets 2 beats. So when you play 6/8 time, you have to go back and revalue, you have to reassign the mathematical value of each note. And for beginners, this is kind of difficult. For beginners in the beginning, they have a hard enough time just learning to count music in 4/4 time. And now we're switching over to 6/8 time, and they have to relearn and change to a different value for quarter notes, change to a different value for dotted half notes, change to a different value for dotted quarter notes. But you have to know that ahead of time when you count music in 6/8 time. So I want you to be aware of that. So in 6/8 time, this gets 2 beats per measure. So if I just play the melody, it'd be like this. So it's kind of like, when you count out loud, be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 1, 2. It's 2 beats per measure. And but now let's get into the piano accompaniment pattern. So the first beat will be triplets, like that. Now for a C chord, I just keep the keys down, like that. 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Let me put the sustain off. 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 2 triplet. That's the first part of the pattern. So now let's go over here and look at our second download, and let's look at the first measure. in the piano music notation, we can see the first beat is in the left hand. It's a triplet, C chord. And then we have, for the second beat, in the right hand, we have a dotted quarter note. And a dotted quarter note in 6/8 time gets only one beat. In 4/4 time, it gets 1.5 beat. But in 6/8 time, it gets only one beat. So, and then that's followed over here in the left hand. So the right hand, measure one beat like that. One triplet two, one triplet two, one triplet two. But now what goes on here is, if you look at the left hand bass part, there's a note here. It's the last note of that measure, and that's your left hand thumb from the C chord. And so you have one triplet, two, and. So if I'm just playing the left hand part, it'd be like this. One triplet, two, and. But the right hand gives balance to the left hand thumb. One triplet, two, and one triplet, two, and. So on the triplets, we say one triplet, and then two would be your right hand, two, and the word and would be your left hand thumb. Like that. One triplet, two, and. So you want to practice saying that out loud. One triplet, two, and. One triplet, two, and. One triplet, two, and. And that's the rhythm we have. Now, this song is written with just that one rhythm, that one piano pattern for use, because the idea here is to learn the pattern. Now, if I was really going to play the song, I would use multiple patterns, but I want to teach this pattern. Now, if you have one chord in one measure, and most of the song is written with one chord per measure, you can use this pattern. But down here in the middle of the song, for example, measure 15, we have two chords. We have a C chord and a G chord. And you cannot use the pattern when you have two chords in one measure. So you just play solid chords. You go down here. For measure 15, you'd play C chord, G chord. Now you can come back to your pattern. And same thing over here on measure 23. At the very end of the song, we have a C and a G chord. Just use solid chords when you get to that point over there. Okay, now, so let me sing this using this pattern. Be like this. Anywhere with Jesus I can safely go. Anywhere He leads me in this world below. Anywhere without Him, dearest joys would fade. Anywhere with Jesus, I am not afraid. Anywhere, anywhere, fear I cannot know. Anywhere with Jesus, I can safely go. Okay, so you want to practice that song using just that one pattern over and over again. But you can add other patterns. Let's talk about adding a second pattern. And the second pattern will be what we call the ballad pattern. And I have taught the ballad pattern over and over again on different videos. It's real easy to do. It's pinky, thumb, chord, thumb, like that. Left hand pinky for your left hand chord. Left hand thumb. Full right hand chord, triad chord. You come back to your thumb. Pinky, thumb, chord, thumb. But you want to play it in 6/8 time like a quarter note followed by an eighth. Or in 4/4 time, it would be a dotted eighth note followed by a 16th. So that's the rhythm you have to put on the ballad pattern. It's not evenly spaced out like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's not evenly spaced out. It has swing on it, a little swing. Like that. So if I use the ballad pattern, it'd be, let me get my pitch. Anywhere with Jesus I can save. Okay, so we could use the ballad pattern mixed in with the triplet pattern, the very first pattern we learned. And so I just mixed those patterns up. So listen to me play the first verse, mixing these two patterns up. Anywhere with Jesus I can safely go. Anywhere he leads me in this world below. Anywhere without him dearest joys would fade. Anywhere with Jesus I am not afraid. Anywhere, fear I cannot know. Anywhere with Jesus I can safely go. So I was using two different patterns there. Now what I could do is add a third pattern. It's a real simple pattern. It's just a chord arpeggio. Triplet. So you have a triplet in your left hand, one triplet, two triplet. That's how you count triplets. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. And now, so it's 2 beats per measure, so it'd be 2 triplets per measure. It'd be 1 triplet, 2 triplet, like that. And you can sing the song that way. So the best place to put this triplet would probably be on the last measure of each line. Because if you look at the last measure of each line, you have a dotted half note, which gets 2 beats in 6/8 time. And it'd be a perfect place to run that chord arpeggio, because you're just holding the melody out. So listen to me use the triplet on the last measure of each line. Anywhere with Jesus I can safely go. Anywhere he leads me in this world below. Anywhere without him dearest joys would fade. Anywhere with Jesus I am not afraid. Anywhere, fear I cannot know. Anywhere with Jesus I can safely go. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of how you can mix up these patterns, and that triplet is real easy, just one triplet, two triplet. Now let's talk about the fingering of the chords. So when I play a C chord, I'm using the root position for a C major chord, and then most of the time when I play a G chord, I'm using the first inverted position. And the F chord, I'm using the second inverted position. So mostly I'm using the cadence, the regular cadence. That's the fingering I'm using for these chords. Now there's one place where I vary on that fingering. Down here on measure number 19, we're on a D chord. Now that D chord, I will use the root position on the D chord. But when I go to the G chord, I'm going to go to the G chord in the second inverted position instead of the first, because it's kind of awkward to go from D to G over here like this. I mean, it can be done, but it's awkward. It's easier to go from D chord in the root position over to G chord in the second inverted position, like that. So here I'll use the G chord on measure 20, 17, 18, 19, 20 in this inverted position here. But the rest of the time I'm using my cadence. Okay, so this is John, and if you learned something from this video, give it a thumbs up. It helps me with my rating, and if you have never subscribed, please subscribe, and because I'm going to be putting out a lot more lessons. And plus you get free sheet music. If you like getting free sheet music, give it a thumbs up. All right, this is John signing off. Hope you all have a good day, and bye-bye for now.